If you do what you've always done, you will not get what you've always got. Wait, what, Justin? What'd you just say? Because I've always heard it as if I do what I've always done, I'm going to get what I've always gotten. That's not true. Think about this as if it were a math equation, right? If you put the same elements of a math equation, yes, you're going to get the same result. However, I think you and I both know that we live in a very dynamic world. There's a lot of changes. Like if you just think about what happened with COVID, right? Did that change the space? Did that change real estate as we know it? It sure did. Not just for a time, but it's impacted in tremendous ways.
Because the management and transparency is what's very important. So once you submit a referral, you're going to have your own Home Advantage account, and it's going to tell you where everything sits. So if you have 10 referrals that you've sent into the network, it's going to give you all 10 referrals. It's going to tell you every milestone that client is sitting in, whether they're touring homes, whether they're in escrow. And you now can manage through the Home Advantage application as far as what your pipeline looks like for the referrals that you've sent. And so it's pretty sophisticated, and it's all click of a button, guys.
What's up, everybody? Those of you that are just here, welcome. Happy Monday morning if you're listening to this live. And we're going to be here live on Facebook here in just a minute. But come in, welcome. In fact, in the chat, why don't you tell us where you're from? Those of you that are here with us inside of Zoom, tell us where you're from. I'd love to get to know the audience a little bit. And if you are on Facebook, welcome as well. Would love to have you put in the chat where you're at. There's an added benefit of engaging in any sort of presentation is that we can play this out one of two ways. Number one is I'm the teacher and you're all the students. And guess what? The teacher always learns the most, right? You guys know that because when you've had to either stand up to do a presentation or you prepared for something, like you learn the most. So my intent is that I don't learn the most, but that we all learn together equally. And the only way for that to happen is that we move the fulcrum to where I'm not the only teacher, but you guys are teaching as well. So whether you're here with us on Zoom or whether you're watching on Facebook, the more you interact in the comments, the more you will be saying that I want to be the teacher. I want to also learn. I don't want to just passively, because if you just passively kind of absorb, you'll get this much. But if you interact with me, you're going to get a whole lot more. So welcome again to everybody that's just joining here. We've got Renee who wants to learn. She's out of Houston, Texas. We've got Donna West here. Who is from Montana. She also wants to learn. Good to see you, ladies. I can't see you, but I can feel your presence and it's good. It's good energy. So thanks for being here. Loved your responses quickly. And we've got Ventura, California as well. So good, you guys. Okay. Today's topic is all about how to disrupt the disruptors. Even since we scheduled this, more has transpired in the world of disruption. I think all of us have maybe heard the buzz about ChatGPT, right? Artificial intelligence, it's coming. It's going to change the real estate world. It's going to disrupt the industry. It's going to displace real estate agents. Okay. Let me just begin by saying that the sky has been falling for a very, very, very long time. And when I look out my window, the sky is still not hitting my head. Okay. There will always be something that's coming into the marketplace that has the potential to change it. Okay. If that were not the case, life would be boring and we would probably be doing something else for a living. Like there will always be something to change it. Now, some things change it faster than others, right? Some things really do come in and cause disruption. However, I want you to know that disruption doesn't have to be a bad thing. It sounds like it is, right? Disrupt, like sounds like it is, like it doesn't have to be. It can actually be something that supercharges your growth forward. And today we're going to talk about exactly that. Let me know in the chat if you have heard about artificial intelligence in the form of the kind of ChatGPT. Just put yes or no if you've heard about it. That way I kind of know. Okay, Renee has. Okay, Jake has. Okay, I can't quite see on Facebook, but yeah, look forward to. I'll review that later. Donna West has. Okay, great. So you guys are somewhat familiar with it. Maybe some of you have even watched trainings of how to use this. I'm going to propose that if you do this right, this will absolutely supercharge your business, right? Like this will absolutely supercharge your business, not destroy it. Okay. And that is the same is true with every other disruptor out there. Some believe that Zillow or Redfin or maybe Rocket Mortgage, right? Or Open Door, right? We've heard this before. We've heard the disruptors are coming. Watch out. Now, for those that are on the side of like, this means nothing to me, I'm just going to keep doing what I've always done, I will tell you a cautionary tale that you should be careful when it comes to that. Because if you do what you've always done, you will not get what you've always got. Wait, what, Justin? What did you just say? Because I've always heard it as if I do what I've always done, I'm going to get what I've always gotten. That's not true. Think about this. It's as if it were a math equation, right? If you put the same elements of a math equation, yes, you're going to get the same result. However, I think you and I both know that we live in a very dynamic world. There's a lot of changes. Like if you just think about what happened with COVID, right? Did that change the space? Did that change real estate as we know it? It sure did. Not just for a time, but it's impacted in tremendous ways. In other words, we don't live in a static world. We live in a very dynamic world. And so doing what you've always done will not get you what you've always gotten. And I would argue if you do what you've always done, you're going to get less and less and less. Case in point, those companies out there that specifically name their real estate company AAA real estate, right? Now, if you're listening and that's you, I'm not offended. Like, hopefully you're not offended. But the reason why that name was given originally is because it put you at the front of the phone book. Okay. But like, we're going to show up first, like first place. And it worked, right? For a time and an era, being very first number that people saw, it worked, right? Because that's how people got their information. As they went to the phone book, they found a business. And if you happen to be AAA, you won. I think you and I both know that we don't name our real estate company based on how many A's we can get in our name, because that gives us some sort of advantage. It doesn't anymore. Okay. So again, cautionary tale to those who are saying it doesn't matter, I don't need to pay attention to it. Be careful, because you will get less and less and less if you continue to do the same things. Now, how do we jump to the other end of the spectrum where we actually leverage this to supercharge us? We don't have to be afraid of these things. The reality is artificial intelligence can be our best friend. It can help us. It can help take away, excuse me, it can take away the things that we aren't good at, and it can allow us to spend more time on the things we are good at. And let me begin by sharing this, is that artificial intelligence will never be able to outhuman humans. It won't. There is power in the human connection. There's power in, got a bit of a frog in my throat, excuse me. You will not be able to be outhumaned by a robot. Okay, you just won't. So with everything that we do, we need to recognize that if we can leverage the power of technology, leverage the power of artificial intelligence to make us better when we show up into these client experiences, whether it be with prospective clients or whether it be with actual clients, we will be empowered to be far better than artificial intelligence by itself, and will be far better than agents who are not leveraging the power of this technology. Okay. So if we had to look at the whole spectrum here now and say, okay, how do I apply this? Okay. I agree with, like, if you agree with what I'm saying, is that robots will never be better at being human than us humans. Put yes. Like if that's something that you believe is true, then let's hear it. Let me know. Renee says yes. Okay, anybody else? You guys believe that we can do a better job of being human? Okay, good. We got Donna, we got Renee. Thank you, two ladies, for your comments. Okay, so then how do we leverage the power of technology? How do we disrupt those disruptors that think that they're going to come in and completely remove us from the transaction? Okay. There's a couple of things that we need to realize, is that technology does a great job of aggregating information and delivering it to us. What it doesn't do a good job with is making the human connection, okay, and helping people to feel like they're safe, to feel like they're secure, okay? It doesn't connect as a human would connect. So when we couple those two together, we can really stand out in the marketplace. I'm going to give you guys some very specific scripts that you can use here in just a minute to disrupt any that aren't leveraging the power of technology and leveraging the innate advantage that we have as human beings. Okay, I'm going to give you that here in just a minute. The thing that I want you to kind of go deep with me here for just a minute, though, is that part of your overall business plan ought to be, how do I leverage technology to give me the information that I need, okay, to where I know faster, better, more capable, and even can articulate it more clearly because of things like ChatGPT, right? That doesn't take all of my time aggregating information, right? Think back of when we had to look through, right, like the MLS book. Like, how long did that take? Now we get alerts that come to us telling us when certain things are coming on the market, when their price drops, right? And that's not even cutting edge technology. That's like basic technology, right? We don't have to go thumbing through a book anymore. Aren't we better off now because we have like the MLS as we see it today? Aren't we better off having access to some of the tools that are out there? Yes, we are better off. There's no way that you could or should say that we should go back to the books because that was a better life back then. No, we aren't going to say that. Like, it's better now. Okay. The only reason it isn't better is if that's all we do is take information from the MLS and give it to our clients. Because the reality of some of these big tech providers, some of whose names I've already mentioned, are already really good at doing that. They can take information and just share it on with a client, right? What they are not good at doing is really stepping into a relationship, listening, asking more questions, and helping that person to not only be heard, but to feel heard. Okay. We as humans have something inside of us that likes certainty. We like to feel safe. We like to feel heard. We like to feel like we're following somebody who can get us to where we want to go. Okay. And when we have this ability to get information quickly and more streamlined and more capable, we're able to get that better, right? And faster and better packages. We're able to do that. And then we're able to go connect with humans on the other side and bring those two together. Okay. Our clients need to know this. Write these two things down. They need to know, number one, that we know what we are doing, that we know what's happening in the market. We are the best person to know what's happening with their area. Okay. And number two, they need to know that we know not just the market, but we know them. Okay. That is the disruptor, is that we know them better than anybody else. Okay. There's when we couple those two together, we couple the fact that we know the market and we know their specific situation, not just what they're putting out on the web. Because again, the web's pretty good at gathering data, what they're clicking on, what they're looking at. But when you can step into a relationship and ask questions that client hasn't thought of asking yet, when you can step in and lead them down a conversation of things that they haven't thought before, you're in new territory. And AI can't do that. Will it at some point? Maybe. But right now it can't. So rather than just being a functionary of, I get information from the MLS, I give it to people, I sign a contract, I negotiate. You guys, if that's your only value proposition, your profitable days in this industry are short-lived. You'll either be out of the business or you will be working for a big tech company as a functionary of theirs, making wages, right? A better alternative is to say, no, I don't want to be a functionary. I want to be a fiduciary, and have that fiduciary. As a fiduciary, you actually get really good at, and you study and you work on scripts. You work on how to, not just what you're going to say, but more importantly, what you're going to ask, because what you can extract from the client is just as, if not more important than what you can put into them. Okay. So what does this sound like? For example, people tell you, I'm looking for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house in this area. Great. AI can solve that really quickly, right? Right. Some of these big tech portals, they're very good at that, sending somebody out to take advantage of that right away. Okay. You're not different. In fact, you're probably more expensive than them. So what's a different twist on that? Rather than just giving people what they say they want at face value, it might be a better alternative. In fact, I would argue that it is a better alternative to get to tell me about that. Tell me why. Tell me why this neighborhood. Tell me why you picked 3 bedrooms, 2 bath. And then when they answer that, be like, now, why is that important to you? And what would that do for you if you were able to find that in that neighborhood? How would you guys feel finding that house in that neighborhood? Oh, you'd feel this way. And you feel, oh, you know what? Have you ever thought about this other neighborhood? This is stuff that they haven't thought about. AI can't find this stuff because it's not on the web, right? The reason why ChatGPT is so powerful and they're beginning to roll out something that's even more powerful, and why Google just invested $300 million in their competitor. Yeah, these things are happening right now. The reason why all that is happening is because there's so much information on the web that they're pulling it into to give people real data. But what they can't get to yet, right, are unasked and unanswered questions from the client. The client has never been there. They've never shown anything on the web that would tell them that that's what they're looking for, right? It's questions that you're going to lead them down a path to uncover, and feelings. The web's not like more challenged at finding feelings and extract feelings from people. And a couple things happen. Again, when you leverage the power of these AI tools, when you leverage the power, right? Instead of trying to fight them and dig in your heels and say, that's bad, don't go to that website, don't go to Zillow, don't go to Redfin, like leverage it, use it, and then connect with them at a very deep emotional level and lead them to a new place. The reason why people say that they don't need real estate agents, right, is because they're not leading them anywhere that they can't get there on their own. And it's because there's so much available information that people feel like they don't need you. And they might, if you're not actually taking them down a path they've never been before, right? What does a leader do? A leader leads you somewhere you haven't been before. So what does it mean to lead people, right, down a path they haven't been before? It means to ask questions, to go deeper, go deeper, go deeper, go deeper, get to the root of it, and then analyze, is what they want, is what they actually want at the core down here. What are they really looking for? Is what they think was the right solution that they told you up here, is that really the thing? Or there are recommendations and suggestions that would be better based on your experience, based on your knowledge of the market, based on your history of working with other clients and your history of working with them. Now you're pulling in data that the web doesn't have. It's your experiences, right? They're your knowledge that's inside your brain, not on the web. So AI can't take that from you. That's yours. But if you don't use it, then it's no good. It's like having access to a gold mine, and you're not even opening up the door to it. But you won't know what to use. You won't know how to use it. You don't know what gold in there is actually beneficial to this client unless you really start to go deep with people. You might be like, well, I don't know if I can spend that much time with people, right? This doesn't take that much time, you guys. It really doesn't. Now, if you're simply like very transactional, you're just showing home after home after home, this might not be the right model for you. But if you want out of that world and you want one in which you're at the center of the transaction and people love having you there, they're not trying to dismiss you. They're not trying to get you out of there. They want you there because they recognize that there's a return on investment for your fee. Instead of like, man, how much are we going to pay that agent? It's like, man, I'm so glad that agent is there because there's going to be actually an ROI on those fees. Like their knowledge is going to get us in the right house, and their negotiation is going to get us a better return than probably what we'll even pay them, to where you're offset your costs entirely. They need to feel that way, that they're missing out by not paying you more. They're missing out because, again, an investment gives you a return, right? If they feel that way about you because you're deeply invested in them and your knowledge of the market, which AKA includes what AI has given you, again, stop fighting it, team up with it, right? When you wrap your arms around it and say, yep, AI, awesome, bring it on. Yep, Zillow, yep, Redfin, yep, like all these players out there, yep, Open Door, like bring them in. It's kind of like what those of you that have been like have shopped for travel online, like put in the comments here if you've purchased some sort of travel online recently. Anybody here? Anybody shop for anything online? Flights, vacations, anything? But yes, you have. Donna has. I love it. Donna's going places. Anybody else? Put in the chat if you're inside of Facebook. Okay, here's what can happen if you go to, like, for example, you could go to a certain airline's website, right? And you go to a rental car website, and you go to like, and there were all these kind of like segregated different parts of a travel experience. And then there began to be these aggregators, right? Like the Expedias, right? And the whatever, right? All these different companies. And then on top of that, there was a company that came in called Kayak. Some of you know Kayak. Kayak actually started to aggregate the aggregators. Okay. They began to bring in all the not just all the airlines, but all the Expedias, right? So now Kayak sat over the top of all of them. I want you guys to think like that instead of like, we're going to fight against these disruptors. I'm going to disrupt them because I'm going to say, thank you very much. You're on my team now, right? I'm not going to fight you. I'm going to embrace you. You're my buddy now. You're going to allow me to get that information more clean, more simple, more clear. And now with the unique thing that is me, which is connect with people on a deep emotional level, I'm going to couple this with this and I'm invincible, right? I can't be disrupted now. Okay. Now here's a couple scripts that I want you to think about as to how to separate yourself. So the client not only feels this at the beginning, but I also want the client to be able to feel this during the client experience, because you can go out and have these experiences one-on-one, or every person that you touch can walk out as part of your sales force. They can walk out as part, like a true lead source for you moving forward. Okay. Here's what that looks like. Is it during the client process, you actually have to train and educate them on why you are different, on how you are different, because the client doesn't do enough real estate transactions frequently enough to be able to really recognize like, wow, our agent was very different. That was a very different experience. They're just going to assume that everybody did that. And potentially even some of these tech companies could do that, right? So here's a simple way to do that is anytime you're faced with a situation with a client, could even be at the very beginning, where you identify what's common, what you do, and why that matters to the client. Let me say that again. What's common, what makes you different, and why that matters to the client. For example, the average, like the common thing to do would be for me as a real estate agent to just start showing you homes. Let me tell you what I do. I've found that in a competitive marketplace, that by me really understanding not just what you're looking for, but why you're looking for it, I might be able to access even homes that are not listed. I might be able to even give recommendations on things that you hadn't thought of. So what I want to do is like the uncommon thing that I'm going to do is sit down with you and have a consultation prior to us doing that. Okay. And here's going to be the outcome is that now you've got my full attention. Now you've got my experience and knowledge and network working 24 hours a day for you, because I know what you're looking for at a very deep level. Okay. So that's kind of step one is number one, to say, here's what's common. Here's what's normally done. Number one. Number two is here's what I do and here's how it benefits you. Okay. Now let me give you another example of that. Okay. Let's say you're partway through a transaction and the appraisal comes back, right? You could say this is that what's commonly done is the appraisal comes back and we just accept it at face value. Here's what I tend to do. I want to look at it and I want to have a conversation, right, with the appraiser. I'm going to offer some supplemental information that they probably didn't consider when they first looked at that. Okay. And what that's going to do is going to give them another perspective. Now I can't steer or improperly induce an appraiser, but I can give them supplemental information. And what's going to happen is that at that point, we're going to have the best possible outcome on this particular appraisal. Okay. Now, again, you might be doing this already, but because you're not languaging it, because you're not specifically stating what's going on, the people who you serve aren't going to recognize that it's any different. And they're going to start to potentially think to themselves of like, we paid a lot at closing for that agent, but I don't know exactly what we got for it. When in actuality, what you did was very different. And the outcome that you got them was very different than a mere functionary. You actually acted as a fiduciary. So taking this concept of what's the common path, what's the uncommon path, and how can I, and what's in it for the client? What's the good outcome for the client? I'd love to share, to have everybody here, what's one takeaway you got from today? Whether you're here inside of Zoom with me, I know there's a few of you in here. There's another group on Facebook. What's one takeaway that you can apply today? Okay. By doing this, what you're saying is, I'm not just going to be the passive learner. I'm going to be the active teacher who's going to be more inclined to be able to go share these things and apply these things in the marketplace. Okay. Now, one thing that I want you guys to know is that some of these concepts I wrote in a book called the Upstream model. There's actually a free download of it. If anybody wants a copy of it, you can buy it for $25 on Amazon. But because I'm such a fan of LabCoatAgents and the value that they bring to the marketplace, I have a link where you can download the ebook for free. So it's Think Bigger RE. That's my company. thinkbiggerre.com/free book. And again, it's a free download. Think Bigger RE, like real estate, thinkbiggerre.com/free book. And you can get a free copy of it. So I've got some examples coming back here. The example that I shared about the appraisal may or may not apply in your specific region. Don't overthink that, right? That was just one example I pulled literally out of my ear a second ago. So, but what I do want you to think about is that at any time during the transaction, what would a common agent do? And what is something that you do that you know is different, that you know is not something that just a lower paid functionary would do, but a superior agent would do that. Okay. That is the principle, right? So don't get caught up on my specific examples that probably weren't well thought through. But more a way to think about as I go through my process, what is it that makes me unique? I'm going to share with the client, here's what's commonly done. Here's what I do. And here's how this is going to benefit you. Those 3 points will make it to where people recognize that you are better and different than artificial intelligence. You're better and different than a mere functionary. You guys, it's always so fun to be here. I'm so grateful for Tristan and LabCoatAgents for giving me this platform on which to come and share my passion. Just so you know, my life's why is my family. I'm a father of 6 children, my wife and I, and I'm also a big fan of what's happening here. This work that I'm doing right here is my life's work. My life's why is my family. My life's work is engaging with all of you, helping you get unstuck in your business. So please find me on Facebook. Justin Stoddart, I think my name has been up in front of you. So find me. Would love to connect with you. Would love to learn about your situation and get your free copy of the book. And I look forward to seeing how else can help you guys. Appreciate it all. Have a great day. Thanks for tuning in. Talk soon.